So last week, OpenAI dropped the price of one of its AI model by 80%. Same model, same day, suddenly cost a fifth of what it did. And that model had only been out for 3 weeks. Companies don't usually cut prices 3 weeks after launch. So something is going on there. But the way they pulled it off is the interesting bit. They had their smartest AI go and fix the machinery that runs their other AI. Let's talk about it. So, quick setup. OpenAI's newest lineup, GPT 5.6, isn't one model, it's three. There's Sol, the expensive smart one, Terra in the middle, and Luna, the small, cheap, fast one. Think of it like shipping options: overnight, standard, and economy. Luna is economy. It's what companies use for their boring high volume stuff: sorting emails, pulling info out of documents, routing requests, the unglamorous work that happens millions of times a day. Luna is the one that got cut by 80%. To put it in normal terms, you pay by how much text goes in and comes out. Before, feeding in roughly a stack of novel worth of text cost about $1. Now, that same piles cost about 20 cents. The middle model got a smaller cut, 20%, and the expensive one didn't get cheaper at all. Worth remembering that. It comes up again later. So here's what they actually did. After their top model Sol was finished and shipped, they pointed it at their own infrastructure and basically said, go make yourself cheaper to run. Specifically, at the low level code that does the actual number crunching on the graphic cards. If the AI is a factory, their code is the individual machine on the factory floor, the things physically doing the work. Normally, that's very specialist stuff. You have got expensive human hand tuning it for months, because a small improvement here can save a lot of money at scale. So they had the AI rewrite it instead. And it worked. Running everything got about 20% cheaper. One detail I like though, they didn't just trust it. They ran the AI rewritten code through a separate tool that checks the math is still correct before letting it near production. Which seems like a right call. You probably shouldn't let a model rewrite the engine and just hope. The second thing it fixed is easier to picture. Normally, an AI writes one word at a time, which is slow because it does a full round of thinking for every single word. There's a trick to speed that up. You have a small, fast model guess the next few words ahead, and the big smart model just check those guesses instead of writing everything itself. It's like having a junior assistant who finish your sentence and you just go, yep, 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 and correct. Faster than saying every word yourself. But it only works if the junior is decent at guessing. If it guesses wrong, you threw the guesses out and you have wasted that effort. So Saul ran hundreds of experiments improving that little guesser and got it more than 15% more efficient. Better guesses, fewer wasted round, cheaper to run. And those two fixes matter more together than separately. One made each round of thinking cheaper. The other made it need fewer rounds. So you are paying less per step and taking fewer steps. That adds up. And that's where the room came from to cut the price. That's the how, but I don't think it's the whole story. Because getting cheaper to run doesn't force you to charge less. You could keep the extra money. They cut prices because they were under pressure. Companies have gotten nervous about AI bills. Uber apparently burned through its entire yearly AI budget in 4 months. Amazon engineering side started capping spending after going over. And cheap Chinese AI models have gotten pretty good. One Berkeley professor said the gap used to be around 6 to 9 months behind, and it's now closer to 2 or 3. You can see people moving too. On one platform where developers pick between models, Chinese model went from about 11% of usage to sitting about 30, sometimes hitting 46. So looking at the price cut again, the cheap, high volume model got slashed 80%, and the expensive flagship got nothing. That tracks. Nobody real threatening the flagship. The competition is at the cheap end. So that's where they defended. Two takeaways. The practical one. If you build anything with AI, especially where one task quietly triggers dozens of AI calls behind the scene, a bunch of ideas that were too expensive last month are now affordable. And the bigger one. This is the first time we have publicly seen an AI rewrite the code that runs itself, have that checked and approved, and shown up in what actually customer will pay. OpenAI's engineer described it as a loop. Beta model make their own infrastructure cheaper, which pays for the next round of beta models. If that loop holds, prices don't only drop when new chips shows up or when human gets around to optimize things. They also drop when the AI gets good enough to optimize itself, which is different thing than what we have seen before. Anyway, that's the story. 80% cut, partly paid for by an AI tuning up its own machinery, and pushed by competition at the cheap end of the market. If you want to follow up where I build a tiny version of that guessing trick in Python so you can watch it work, tell me in comments. See you in the next one. Peace.